This is so classic. There we go. I think we're live. There we go. We're in the 11. Okay.
11.
Or we just made it right at the core. So everyone check in. I know people, I didn't put their proper name down, but I guess they'll come in as time goes on. Here they come. Hey, Tiana. Peace, Cadillac. Yes, we are back.
Yes.
I have Dana Vudun Khayol on the line. We're going into the alchemy of energy. Hold on. I think many of you are shocked. I actually had this set up, but it just the name of it. So it's the alchemy of energy. Zero distractions with Dana Vudun is on right now. This is a little extra. We came in at the 11:11.
Yes.
So Dana, say hi to everybody.
Hi, hola, ¿cómo están? Yes.
Check on in. So Dana, you can kind of start off. You want to start off the preview of of tonight's show?
Okay. Well, I want to start off by giving a Google definition of the word alchemy. It says alchemy, a seemingly magical process of transformation, creation, or combination. And it's funny because I was looking at your video earlier about twin flames, and the example that they use is finding the person who's right for you requires a very subtle alchemy, right?
Yes.
According to chemistryexplained.com, the main goal of the alchemist was to transmute base metals into gold and attain the philosopher's stone, okay? And so the philosopher's stone, as I know it, is the Bendu seed, which sits in the intestine, and when it rises, it activates the Kundalini or your chakras.
Woo!
And so the whole concept of alchemy has to do with the soul and the spirit and the mind combined. And there was something else that I wanted to read. Okay, the spiritual alchemist. It says, we are all spiritual alchemists, as we all have this ability to transmute energy. The negative can become positive, just as darkness can become light. Perfection is an illusion, but balance is the way of life.
Woo! Fire in the yard.
Right, fire. And so at this point in time, in July 2019, the majority of us are going through a healing process. And so in this healing process, a lot of us, especially those who are quote unquote activated and have experienced the full Kundalini, are going through what some will call the dark night of the soul. I don't call it that, but some people call it that, right?
Yes.
And so in this process, we're finding things out about ourselves, things that we thought that we left in the past or we healed because we forgave people for certain things. And in this process of healing, we're faced with ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
But I'm here to tell you that even those things about yourself that you feel are socially awkward or socially wrong or bad or evil or whatever, that you should accept those things and transmute it.
Woo!
Become the alchemist. This is how you bring balance. Too much light is too much. Too much darkness is too much. You have to be in alignment. You have to be in balance to be the alchemist that you need to be in this time. We are forever evolving. If you're in the same place you were last year, it's time to redirect, reevaluate. Time to elevate, because that's what we are right now. Me and Fleur were talking earlier today. I was telling her about my most recent Kundalini experience, which was my second Kundalini experience, which I have to tell y'all about it because it was wild.
Absolutely. Please share it with them because
what I didn't tell you though, Fleur, was earlier that night I was sitting out in the parking lot, and I'm in South Carolina, so the sky is amazing. And I'm always looking in the sky, always. And a shooting star just went right past me, from the left to the right of me. And I was sitting around a bunch of older guys. And I said, wow, I just seen a shooting star. And the guy said, well, you know what they say? I said, to make a wish. And so he said, yeah. So I started to will abundance, prosperity, good health, wealth, all the things that I've been working on for all of us. And one of the older guys got up and gave me a hug and said, thank you. But I felt the energy change where I was. Yes. I went to a club, and I'm not a club person. But I went
not
to
at
a
all.
Club and we were, right. My nerves can't take it. It's too many energy.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting outside on the patio, and I just started to take on everybody's energy. Like, I could feel it. And I started to feel like I was having anxiety. But I checked my anxiety. I looked to the door that led back into the club, and it looked identical to what the underworld looked like when I see it in sleep, in my dreams. It was a tint of green. It was misty, and I started to feel this pain at the top of my buttock. And so I told one of the guys that was with me, excuse my French, but my ass hurts. I'm about to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
And so I stood up, and the second step that I took, I could feel that I was about to leave my body. And I said, oh, I should have sat down. And the next thing I remember jumping in and outside of my body. The craziest part is, for the past month or so, I've been thinking about whether or not I would have another Kundalini experience. My first Kundalini experience was in 2016 at a rehearsal. So it was around music again. Mm-hmm. And the frequency of the drum mixed with the organ and the keyboard took me up. But this particular time, I was actually consciously floating in and outside of my body. So it was as if before I could reach that portal to go into what looked like the underworld, my body jumped out, my astral body, my Merkaba jumped out to protect me. Now, the week before that happened, I had 4 people tell me that they either seen me in a dream, and then, or they either seen me in a dream, or they heard my voice to tell them to do something. And so I would post something on Facebook or Instagram, and they would hit me up in my inbox and say, you came to me last night in a dream and said that exact same thing to me. But I realized that although they told me that week, it wasn't until that moment that I spiritually did it. That was wild for me.
Wow. This is amazing. And when I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so tangible. And you had experienced it before, so you recognized it, which thank goodness, because you may have thought you were just going to pass out. You may have thought something was going on. You got sick. It was, you knew exactly what it was, and you were trying to preempt it. This is beautiful.
Exactly. Right. It's wild. It's really wild. And being as though, with people like me who have these experiences, it's hard because you can't talk to everybody about it.
Absolutely not.
And like I was telling you earlier, I was more concerned with my cousin and his friend and how they felt about it than I was about myself, because I already knew what it was. Exactly. And I was excited for what it was. I wasn't embarrassed. I wasn't, you know what I mean?
You're beyond that. You're beyond the ego. Yes.
But it took it to another level for me.
Yes.
And so now I'm so engulfed in all of the energy that's around me. I'm talking about all of the energy from the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees. Like,
it's beautiful, yeah.
I'm out here, right?
Yes.
I'm out here, and I'm working my juju in it.
Yes.
I went to see the movie Midsummer the other day by myself.
Ooh.
And I was the only melanated woman in there.
Yes.
And the whole movie is about magic. The entire movie. I mean, they're doing all kinds of rituals. They have runes and all kinds of stuff.
Oh my God.
And I'm in there literally setting my intention on everything that I want and I need and everything that I feel everyone surrounding me needs and wants and desires. And I'm using my intention with those rituals that I'm viewing because it's going into my subconscious anyway.
That's right.
So why not be the alchemist and transmute that energy?
Please say it again. Wait, first of all.
Yes, for the people in the back, why not use that energy to manifest what it is that I desire, what I need, what I want to see. And so I did that, right? And so as I'm leaving, an older white guy said to me, "Oh, that was one weird movie." And I said, "No, I wouldn't say that. That was one witchy movie." And he was weird about it. You know, I'm in the Bible Belt. They're like, "Witch? Like what?"
Yeah, he went to see the wrong movie. He was in the wrong theater. Oh, the movie's called Midsummer. The movie's called Midsummer.
Exactly. Midsummer, yes. Listen, go to the movie and work your intentions.
We will be going. Yes.
Please go. And so I went to the grocery store after I left the movie, and I get out of the car, and there's this boy who looks about maybe 15, 16 years old. Him and his mom have some flowers that they just bought from the grocery store, and he hands me flowers.
Aww.
Now you would have to see Midsummer to understand how important the flowers were in the movie.
Okay. We have some people. Did anyone see the movie yet? This is Dana Voodoo Creole. For many of you, she's been on my Blog Talk show before. She's a masterful metaphysician. She talks about also the alchemy of, she also has a channel. Can you give us your channel again, Dana?
It's Dana Voodoo Creole.
Exactly what I said. I'll make sure I add, I actually was going live on another stream. That's why the color on the stream is off. It wouldn't let me do it. So I switched over. So I'm going to have her name and a plug to her YouTube. She's masterful at reading energy. She's probably one of the few people that I trust when they have intel based on what's going on in the matrix and the different energetic levels of imprints that some of these beings have upon society. So she's about that life.
I am so with it.
So everyone check out the movie. We're going to be manifesting. See, we're going to all be witchy at the end of the movie.
Yes, please. And so, it gets so deep even within that movie because the movie is based set in Sweden. Right, so that's where the rituals are happening in Sweden.
Yes.
And then the same week that the movie came out, the rapper A$AP Rocky is locked up in Sweden.
What? And
so, yes, in the movie, there's one black guy. I'm not going to give a spoiler.
Okay.
But, yeah. A$AP Rocky is locked up in Stockholm, mind you, which one of the people ends up with Stockholm Syndrome.
Oh!
Right. It's deep.
This is when you go to the movie theater and you about that life. So you've already broken down the sigils, rituals, anagrams.
Exactly.
Yes, I love this.
Exactly.
I love this. All right.
And so I had to become the alchemist. Now, alchemy is my thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I've realized that what we view in our physical lives is not even a percentage of what actually is. And so going back to what I was saying about, this time of healing and realizing who we are and what we are and how powerful we are, we have to tap into those things that we don't like about ourselves too.
Yes. Instead of isolating them and demonizing them. Yes, I agree.
Exactly.
I agree.
If you're a freak, be a freak.
Be a freak in the daytime.
You know what I'm saying? Like go for, we have to stop pigeonholing and stifling ourselves because we're stifling our power. And that's why things were set up the way they were, dictating what's good and evil.
With religion. Bad. A lot of religious sectors do that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, because what I try to tell people, especially people who are in the church, when you read the Bible and you're going back to Genesis, where God is telling Adam, you can eat from every tree except for the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It's not the tree of knowledge. It's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So the Bible, according to the Bible, you're not even supposed to know what good and evil is.
Wow.
And that goes back to energy. Energy is neutral. Energy doesn't have
You're right.
good or evil side.
That's right.
It just is.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was either Dr. Delva Blair, Dr. Phil Valentine, or Bobby Hemmett that said if you stick a fork in the socket,
Mm-hmm.
the electrical socket, it's not going to determine whether or not you're good or bad.
This is going to give you a shock.
Either way.
Yeah.
You're like, it just is.
I think that's Hemmett.
And so
that might be Bobby Hemmett.
If you can see what you want, and you can turn on the news, and you know that everybody who sees this particular story is going to be upset. Some people may cry. Some people may laugh. Some people might, get angry and go and beat somebody up. If you can tap into the people who are laughing, just tap into that energy. Think about people laughing and tap into that energy, and think about what you want and put that energy out. You can manifest anything.
Yes. And us not knowing about ourselves, or just being too open and receptive to everything and anything without any designation. That's why they're able to manipulate the populace by putting negative things, because they know that if they put your attention there, most likely you'll stay there focused on the negativity and you'll expound upon it in the environment. I agree.
Do everything with intention. When you pump your gas, say, I'm pumping this gas for an extra $2,000 next week.
That's right.
Everything with intention.
Fuel for food, or fuel for abundance, fuel for you take it. Yeah, absolutely.
When you drink water, you're drinking water for a long, prosperous, healthy life.
That's right.
Do everything with intention, because like we were talking about earlier with the heat, right? Okay, so the winter time is cold. So we think about cold, we think about death, we think about people dying, things dying, trees, flowers, all kinds of stuff.
Dormancy.
And so with that energy comes certain spirits.
Yes.
Whether it be ancestral spirits or souls and spirits trapped on this plane, those are the ones that are very powerful at the time. But when it's hot, that's when more powerful beings come onto the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know this because I have altars everywhere, right?
Yes, you do.
Right, literally everywhere.
Yes.
And everywhere I have altars where I do most of my work, it's hot. It'll be the hottest place.
Yes.
And I can have the air conditioner on 60 and it's still warm in that place. And so I know that a different kind of energy is there.
Yes. Yes.
It's like what they say, when we get into a room together, it's a lot of us in one place.
Heat, a lot of heat.
Real hot.
Yes.
Right. And so this energy that's happening right now is coming from the internal sun.
Yes.
Right? This is coming from Amun Ra, the black sun. The one they try to demonize.
The inner earth sun, yeah.
The inner earth sun,
yeah.
Exactly. And so it's the sun that we can't see. But as above, so below, as within, so without, right? And so this same internal sun that's inside the earth is inside of us. It's the same sun.
That's right.
And so this particular sun is what's waking up that cosmic energy in us. And so, like I was telling you earlier about my dreams with the snake.
Yes.
Are becoming more frequent. Like this is like an everyday type of energy. So there is this Leviathan type energy that is on the planet right now.
Mm-hmm.
But what is Leviathan to you? What is Leviathan to me? You understand what
it's totally different, yes.
Like, exactly. And you can be the alchemist and tap into that energy and create, whether it's peace on earth or taking more billionaires down, or you know what I'm saying? Like
yes.
getting more cult leaders locked up.
Yes.
Like this is the energy that we are now able to, consciously or unconsciously, because a lot of us we're already doing it.
We are.
And just don't realize that we're doing it.
Absolutely. And I love that you talked about the kinetic energy, because when you speed something up, even in the laboratory, when cells speed up, they get hot. That's why in hospitals, they keep it cool to slow down, to kind of make things go into slow motion so viruses are not on the rise. But when you heat things up, that's what a fever's for. When a baby has a fever, it's burning up all the viruses. So it's interesting that they put in hospitals cooler air to not allow anything to kind of come into fruition. But if you heat it up enough, it'll dissipate everything that's a viral infection.
Wow. And that's what the earth is doing right now.
It is.
And that's why it's so profound, like we talked about earlier with the siren, right? With the mer people, with the Little Mermaid trending, and with Ariel. Like, that's two different deities.
Oh, please
Ariel
talk about that. Please speak about that, because it was so, like, when you said it, it was like, oh my God, you just expounded. So talk about the concept of Ariel and what that really is.
Ariel is an archangel.
Archangel Ariel.
The archangel of nature.
Yes.
Nature. Imagine that.
Right?
So
the archangel of nature is Ariel. So that's where there's coming all of a sudden this concept of her coming up, which she's always been already a part of her society through Mami Wata. She has different names sometimes. She'll show up. Yes. Jemeja. Yes.
Right. And this has always been our culture.
Yes, absolutely. Right? That's part of the Orishas, the African diaspora. Yes.
Exactly. And that's encoded in our DNA.
It is. Because where the mermaids have had most interaction is in South Africa, Kenya, Nairobi.
Exactly.
They have stories of the exchange of the actual sirens and the land cousins, which are their family. And that's why the African churches in Africa are expelling what they consider to be the marine deities out of people, out of brown people in masses in Africa. Okay.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Right. Exercising siren.
Yes.
They are something else. But so the Yemenya, the Lasarine, the Mami Wata, that energy is now. That energy was May, June, July.
Yes.
This is their time. And for every time somebody types Ariel, every time somebody says Ariel, every time you look at the word Ariel, you are summoning that energy.
Yes.
Of the archangel of nature.
Yes, it's beautiful.
And so it's no coincidence that multiple earthquakes happen and then sinkholes start happening. New Orleans is flooded right now. This is because we are calling on this angel to come and right wrong, to come and make balance. The earth is healing herself.
She is.
And we are assisting every time we say Ariel.
Isn't that crazy? We're invoking her by even mentioning or having discussions, especially piloted discussions, that brings more of her energy.
But the more powerful thing is that we're seeing her in her natural state.
Mm-hmm.
We're not seeing Ariel as a pale-skinned person. We're seeing Ariel as a melanated siren.
Because everything is duality. So if you see her as one, you have to see her as the other. And having any angst or any sort of resistance to that also shows the imbalance.
Exactly. So the whole concept of, characters that used to be of the pheomelanin type now being changed into the eumelanin type is that yin and yang.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're bringing that balance.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Which is order out of chaos.
Always.
Because it causes a certain group, a demographic of people to feel some type of way about it.
Resistance causes persistence. Resistance.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a kinetic charge.
All magic.
Yeah.
It's all alchemy.
Yes.
So I had to tell everyone, please tap into your alchemy. Please. Because and I went on a tangent, but what you see physically is not a percentage of what it actually is. So you can see $20 in your bank account, but you are rich. You feel rich. You feel wealthy. You know you're supposed to be wealthy.
Well, you remember the other zeros are cloaked. The other zeros are cloaked. So what you see is 2 zeros, but really there's a cloaked 4 and 5 other zeros. Exactly. If you accept the cloaking that some things are seen and other things are unseen, you can accept that your bank account doesn't just have 200. It actually has 2,000, 2 million, 200,000. Exactly. Yeah, that's alchemy.
Exactly that. And so we have to come into this mindset. Because the illusion of the matrix will have you so stressed out and so on edge and full of anxiety and depression and all kinds of nonsense because of what you physically see. And it's so much more than what you physically see.
666.
It's a getting to a place of knowing that you know. Knowing that everything that you need, want, and desire will be provided for you because you know it.
That's right.
Because it's already done. If you can see it, it's already done.
Yes.
The subconscious mind believes everything that you tell it. And so if you told yourself that you're wealthy because your subconscious mind starts to create it.
Yes.
Now it's up to you as to how you get to that point. Whether you slow yourself down or you speed the process up.
Woo!
A lot
Fever.
of people think that what you say is what creates it. What you say is what magnetizes it.
Very good.
So it becomes like a magnet. But as soon as you think it, your subconscious begins to create it.
That's right.
That's why it's so important to do everything with intention. Don't just watch and listen to things just to have something to do. No, do it with full intention on creating what it is that you want.
That's right.
When you go to the playground with your children, okay, I'm taking the babies to the playground. However, this is going to create laughter, it's creating a higher frequency, and this higher frequency I'm using for X, Y, and Z.
That's right.
Do everything with intention. Because right now, the distractions are massive.
Oh, yes.
If you get caught up in the distraction, you'll miss out on your blessing.
Well, if you're sitting in a car and you're not in the driver's seat and you don't realize that you're in a car that you can actually, pilot, then something else is going to sit in that seat. So if you have so a lot of people are sitting in a seat as a co-pilot, sitting as a co-pilot as opposed to the pilot. You always are in a better position sitting in the seat. It's better to be active than inactive because when you're inactive, you're allowed for any infiltration.
Exactly. You are in control. So be in control.
And this is why we're seeing,
will.
Yes, and this is why we're seeing a lot of the pedophiles going down. And what I've noticed is that even in me posting on IG, I'm using my form of mental alchemy by visually putting something out there that I accept as a reality that I wanted and that I know is being. So every time I put an arrested pedophile, anytime I post it, the people who are visually seeing it are also accepting it. So we're all co-creating the reality of people being accountable for their for the abuse of children. It's important.
And the more people that see it, the more people who read it, the faster it happens.
It does. It does. It's like a ritual. If you allow people to see your ritual, it perpetuates the energy. Yes.
Yep. Definitely.
And
so I'm so there, Fleur.
You've been there. You're not so there. You've been there, did that. You were there, are there, and are going there. And it was beautiful because exactly, because we were talking today and I spoke to Dana, and Dana's always on point. When I see her posts and stuff, I already know where she's lying. And I've talked about years ago. I think, Dana, I just reminded you today, a while ago, that I had a dream. This is before we started even talking. You were always part of our world, but we never speak. But I had not even a dream. I saw, it was in the future. Dana was sitting on my couch. She came to my house at 2:00. It's all relative. At 2:00, she was waiting. We were supposed to go to the beach. Now we talk about sirens, a connection to mommy water, which also has to do with the serpentine energy, which is not separate. And fast forward, because time doesn't exist, we already were close, but it was already showing up in a frequency that I acknowledged with her coming to my house, waiting to go to the beach.
Yes.
So
exactly.
And this is twinning. It's kind of like twin flames.
To this moment, exactly.
They're already there.
Right. The story of my life.
So this is why it's important. I think Dana could properly put it in words to disclose that really, when they had, remember the show The Secret? This isn't really a secret. The secret was you had everything necessary in order to change and morph and alkalize your world. But they always made it seem like you needed a third party.
Like it was outside of you.
Yes. But it's all within.
And it's so crazy. Like I said before, I grew up in the church. Like I'm a pastor's child.
Woo! I love it. That's even better. Big up to the pastors, all the Christian parents. You brought it to the next stage. So don't ever, whatever brings your children to the world of awakening, that sometimes is the road.
Right, it is. And so I remember the scripture that said, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world.
Ooh, deep.
And it's heavy because, being where I am in life and understanding that to the point of trying to get people to understand that it's not outside of you, it's all in you. That's every Orisha, every Loa, every Palo, every ancestor is in you.
Absolutely.
And so it's a matter of you tapping into it.
Woo! Say it again, please, Dana. Rewind. Say it again, please.
Tap into it.
Thank you.
Every Orisha, every Loa, every Palo, every ancestor is in you. It's already in you.
Yes.
It's just a matter of you tapping into that energy, tapping into that vibration, tapping into that frequency. And it is work.
It is.
It's work. But it's self-work, It's a time now, and the Spirit said this to me before I got on this call, that the balance is being service to others and service to self.
Yes. Yeah. Dana, please. Wait, Tina, I'm having heart palpitations. Hold on. I know I'm so dramatic. I'm so dramatic.
I love it.
Please say it again, Dana. Please, we have to do rewinds. This is like a Wendy moment. Let's do a rewind. Say it again. Say it again.
The balance is being of service to self and service to others.
Not one as opposed to the other, but both.
Exactly.
Yes.
You have to be in the balance. You have to be in line with balance.
Yes.
Everything is about balance now.
Yoga Tom is not going to make it through the apocalypse. Yoga Tom is eating fruit. He's sitting on the floor. He's not proactive. Yes. He thinks he's too good to be amongst the dirty and the dark. And then when the darkness knocks on his door, because remember, he's too much of the light, he's scared, and he most likely will be taken over by the dark or totally exonerated. Yes.
For no reason.
There isn't any reason, because if he accepted the part that, sometimes Yoga Tom likes to eat a hamburger once a month, maybe Yoga Tom was fighting that because he thought, the social media vegan Nazis will destroy him and go to his house and put murdered cows on his door. He didn't want to do what already was something that was calling for him to be more balanced. So now Yoga Tom is susceptible to being taken out by the darkness because he didn't accept that. That's right.
At any given moment, like Agent Smith in The Matrix.
That's right. Because we all have an aspect that can be infiltrated by a Smith. But if we realize that we can be both, there's no infiltration because we're already everything.
Right. And how you get to that balance is living in your truth transparency.
That's right. That's true.
You have to don't lie to you.
No.
Don't lie. Be as honest
with yourself
as you possibly can.
You don't have to do it on social media. Let me state that. You don't have to do it on social media. You can be honest with yourself. Yes.
Yeah. And we talked about that earlier. Social media being a portal.
Wait, Gia says she wants to meet Yoga Tom. Yoga Tom's gonna have mad dates after the show. Poor more yoga time. I'm gonna bring you a frappuccino with strawberries after the show.
Yoga time.
Oh, take a book.
Yes, honey. Yes.
Woo, that's funny.
But yeah, girl.
Yes.
Be truthful with yourself. Be honest with yourself.
Yes.
You know, once you start to be honest with yourself, I find that certain gifts start to open up.
Yes. And you get less attacks. You get less attacks when you're more integrity wise with your own
definitely.
divinity. Yes.
Most definitely. And it makes it harder for you to be infiltrated.
It's true.
Because you're honest with yourself. You can feel it. Your intuition kicks in more. Because, you know, when you're so honest with yourself, if anything is off settling, you feel it.
You recognize it. Yep. Absolutely.
Right. You know when to move. You know when to shake.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
And also,
and so,
when you when you see most possessions, like in The Exorcist or any, if you ever see possessions, usually what the devil, quote unquote, the devil or the demons utilize is your non-authenticity, non-recognition of self to attack you. So they use what is known about you that you've not accepted as a weapon against you. So knowing yourself and being non-like. Yes.
To piggyback on that.
Yes.
Remember how when the priests go in, that demon confronts the priest with their darkness.
Yes, yes, the shadows of the priest. Yes,
shadows.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly. And so when in this time of healing, when you deal with your shadow, when you can accept your shadow, and that's what us was about.
That's right.
If you can accept your shadow, nothing can come against you with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
At all.
That's right.
And so there's no way to attack you. I mean, even if they try to attack you, it won't shake you.
It's true.
It won't move you.
It's true. It's true.
You know?
Something as slight as being real of who you are. So if you do something that's what you deem to be an issue, if you just live it and just acknowledge it, and people be like, listen, I'm a thickums, or I like to drink coffee. Yes, I go to Starbucks every once in a while. Keeping it real it keeps the authenticity and leaves you because if people knew, let's say I was hiding, Dana, because you know I could do that, I could hide in Starbucks. Somebody would take a picture of me drinking a coffee. And then they post it on social media and say Fleur Brune is a lying piece of sex. She never stopped drinking Starbucks. I seen her yesterday. It would be utilized against me. And that's where we're talking about that authenticity.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it helps.
It does.
I'm trying to tell you from experience, it helps. Accept who you are and use who you are to manifest everything that you need, desire, want to see in this life cycle.
Exactly.
Please.
I agree. It's we're in amazing times.
We are. Like, and you know, I'm trying to get in the habit of really writing stuff down.
Yeah.
Because I know it's something that I'm supposed to be doing.
I know. Me too.
And it's hard.
It's hard.
It's crazy because I used to keep journals all the time.
I think
but now that I'm supposed to do it.
Now you're not doing it.
I'm so rebellious. I'm so rebellious.
Yeah.
It's my old soul. You know?
Yes.
But it you know, to see where we were last year versus where we are this year, cosmically.
Oh my gosh.
Spiritually, like it's like 100 years past.
It is quantum leaps. Yeah, we've taken quantum leaps. Absolutely.
Yes.
And
it just feels magical.
It does. It does. Because before we knew that thoughts were things, and most of us knew that there was plausible, but because it wasn't so tangible and it was at a slower rate, you couldn't really say out loud, okay, this is definitely the definitive way that you manifest. Now, you literally are seeing, everybody's witnessing manifestations happen in everybody. It's called miracles. That's what miracles were back in the days.
Literally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now it's coming daily, every moment. It's beautiful.
Quickly.
Yes.
Quickly. And so that's what I do. Like I teach people how to get to the alchemist in them. And I work with children.
Which is the best.
grown ups, but I find that most of the people who I work with are women. And so, but I work with more male children than I do female children.
That's beautiful.
But most are women. And so I had mentioned to you earlier how we, us melanated women, are the ones that are receiving.
Thank you, Abraham. I appreciate it.
All of the intel. And so are the babies.
Yes.
Absolutely. But what I've been noticing is there are a lot of dark energies that are trying to infiltrate the children.
Oh, yes.
And so,
absolutely.
It's imperative to, and I'll say this every time, anywhere I go, protect yourself at all times. If you have children that are dealing with entities in their rooms, don't just write it off as something that, they've seen on TV. Or no, they really are dealing with entities because, like Kanye and Kid Cudi did, Kids See Ghosts. This is real life.
Yes.
Most children that I talk to or work with can feel them. And I just start working with one little boy who can see them.
Aw, I love it.
And they're little. Like I'm talking about 5, 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yes.
And so make sure your children's rooms are protected because as grown-ups, we have interactions with people, especially on social media, where you can have somebody giving you the quote-unquote evil eye, and you don't even know that they looking at your pictures. And so we're understanding that thought forms create entities who then go and feed on your energy. It's important to cover your baby. Cover yourself, of course, but make sure that you double down on protecting them because whatever entity, thought form, or energy that may try to come and attack you or me or whomever,
it'll go to the closest
it goes to the baby.
Yeah.
Because they can see them. They can hear them. They can feel them.
And they utilize them for food.
When they start acting out or acting crazy, and you're like, what's wrong with you? It's because it's something that's attaching to them or following them.
Absolutely. The rolling cow in Jamaica, they call it the rolling cow or the rolling. It happens a lot of times. And I think a lot of parents take it as their children are, having imagination or so on. And it's really real life attacks that are happening to the children.
Seriously. I had my first and only sleep paralysis at the age of 3. I'll never forget it. I used to see spirits coming in and out of the closet when I was 3, 4, 5 years old. I'm 37 years old, and I still sleep with my closet door closed.
Yeah, always. Closet doors are where is the biggest. Yeah, it is, and that's why poltergeist. You see a lot of movies. Time Lords. They come through the closet. It's the biggest portal. Yeah.
Yes, it's a hell of a portal, and so I totally understand. But I was the type of child where I didn't tell anybody about it. Like I didn't scream and tell my mom and dad until like last year.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But at this point in time, with the energy and everything that's going on, these babies need to have an outlet.
They do.
They need to have, because there's a lot of children that are committing suicide, and you think it's because they're getting bullied. No, it's because they feel like they're on the island by themselves.
That's right.
People have gifts. And they when they tell their parents, the parents are scared or they don't know what to do.
It's true. Because the parents are lost.
Or they write them off as crazy.
Yeah.
Put them on medicine and all kinds of crazy.
Yeah. And we also... Oh, I'm sorry. Just to interject, there is also another form of infiltration that they're getting the babies is from now, because in Brazil, we kind of vetted out. In Brazil, they're giving women vaccinations while they're pregnant. So they're capping the babies before they even get out the womb. So this is a big phenomenon. I know when I was pregnant with my last.
So they cloning them.
They are. And big up to the Sea Star who shared that they have the first transplanted womb. And now we understand this is, breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking.
You know what, Fleur?
Yeah.
I was sharing that in 2015.
You knew about it. Exactly.
Listen, and I was trying to tell people, I said, listen, they have wombs out here that are making babies without sperm,
yes,
without a man.
Yes.
They're making it so men don't need. I mean, it's this stuff I was talking about in 2015, right? And everybody was looking at me like I was crazy, like, oh, you're.
No, it's true. Well, they have it now on it's facts, and also. Now we understand why all the harvesting of a lot of women of color in DC and otherwise, now I know where those wombs went, because a lot of those things were organ harvesting. We thought it was livers, so on, right. But they're taking wombs because remember, not every womb can spark a soul. So in order to get a certain kind of womb, you take it from a certain kind of female. So they're taking wombs out of specific females, especially from like DC. DC has the highest amount of abductions of women of color. And for those who don't know about the organ harvesting of people of color, it's a fact. It isn't something we could possibly make up. It's all it's already a lot. First of all, it's documented, and they're taking the organs, lungs, spleen, and it's being sold on the black market, which is worth more than gold right now. So I didn't realize until I saw one of the Sea Stars. Big up to the Sea Star who shared this exact, the first, outwardly, because once they put it out, it's already been solidified for 50 years. They've already done this probably 30 years ago. Yeah, that's
all their stem cell research.
Yes.
That Barry Obama
everything
gave them all kinds of.
Yes.
Well, you know why it's DC, right?
Well, DC is the hub.
It's not even a part of the United States.
No, it's not. It's separate, so they can do a lot of.
It's a nation state.
Yes.
So it's a nation within itself.
Yes. Yes. So if anything goes down, they can separate themselves and act as an independent state, right? They can act independent. Okay.
A nation, an entire nation.
Yeah.
It's 3 nation states. It's the Vatican, the City of London, and Washington D.C.
Yeah.
And they are wild about it. In all 3 of those places.
It's crazy. It's a wild west out here, people. So
it is. It's a war going on outside.
So for all the pregnant niestas and those who are fathers to be women, please talk to your spouses or your mates. They are vaccinating you from pregnancy. That caps the baby before the baby comes. It also may make this baby susceptible to being soul. Yes. Yeah. They'll take the soul out, extract the soul, and put something else in there. Or attach a certain type of deity that feeds off of that baby. And then you wonder why the chaos in that child's life is coming about in order to feed another type of deity that's attached to the newborn or the baby and the child, and as they grow older. So we're not scaring anyone, but it's power and knowledge. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Wow. That makes sense.
Hysterectomy.
That makes sense.
I
had a dream last night. That was crazy. That makes sense.
Share.
Snakes are used in ritual because snakes don't have souls.
Yeah.
And so spirits can jump in and out of snakes.
Yes. They use them as portals.
That's what they're doing to the baby.
They are.
That's crazy.
They are. And that's why that's why they don't want anybody getting abortion anymore, because they got a whole bunch of attachments, and then they're going to vaccinate you. So that baby that you think you're portaling into, this space may have attachments. It has almost like a little parasite connected to it energetically that will be feeding off of it, utilizing it for its own stay here and, trying to jump into the other forms of
trying to make smart babies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So mothers, keep your cell phones away from the babies. If you're pregnant, don't put the phones on your hip. Don't put it on your breast. We've talked about this before. Keep the cell phones away from you when you're pregnant. I suggest, if you're pregnant at all, I suggest you getting an old rotary phone, and that's the only thing you use throughout the pregnancy, because the phones are also used as portals to also attach to us as well. So be careful with that.
They're black mirrors.
They are.
Phone, the TV,
television, everything. Yeah.
Right.
Cover everything.
And that's where spirits come through.
Absolutely. So just be mindful. Someone asked about hysterectomies. Depending on the case, I don't want to speak too much. Remember, I'm not a doctor, and I want to give just a little information on that. Dana could probably expound on it as well. Hysterectomies, I think they're opting for women to get more hysterectomies than is necessary. I think there are times it's necessary, depending if there's a lot of tumors. I think that, if there's a woman who has quite a bit of tumors in her womb, that's the only time I think it would be an option to perhaps remove it, because hormonally, sometimes the hormones make it a little more exacerbate sometimes the growth of tumors. Other than that, I think you should always get a second and third opinion. I also think you should go to DOs, which are homeopathic doctors alongside of Western doctors, to get another opinion. I think they're purposefully making some women remove their wombs and other women. Yeah. So just you always get a second and third opinion. That's what I would say. Don't ever put your life and your long-term health in the hands of someone who does not have any investment in your future. Okay.
Yeah, I concur.
Okay.
If like Trey said, if you get a medical doctor and a holistic doctor,
yeah,
I would lean more on the holistic doctor.
Yes.
But I wouldn't recommend it. Just like I wouldn't recommend getting tonsils taken out or thyroid or whatever, because these things are attached to your chakras.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to throw yourself off, your frequency, your vibration off, because somebody's trying to stop the God in you.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. And it's the same with the teeth too. You know, a lot of times they want to remove all our teeth, and those are also points of entry. Those are crystals. Teeth are crystals.
Exactly.
That's why when you go to places like Brazil or anywhere, they always have shark teeth. Those are like medallions or protection modalities. So even if they take your teeth out, this is a suggestion. I know it seems creepy and it seems but this is very tribal. Keep your teeth.
Right.
Don't let them keep your teeth, because you can wear them on yourself, so you don't lose the energy. So a lot of our ancestors, if they lost their teeth, they would wear it around their necks as necklaces. Okay. And that's still a protection modality. So, or you could put it around your children's neck. You put a father's tooth, if it falls out, because a father represents sometimes protection, put it around your daughter's neck. Okay. As a way to veer off males that are unhealthy for her. So these are things that the old ancients and tribal people used to do. So take that in consideration. Don't let them keep your teeth. You can take your teeth with you. It creeps some people out, but that's very tribally based. And we used to keep our teeth as, you know, sometimes as like I said, protection or things to keep a frequency with us, like our grandparents or what have you.
Right. Brilliant.
So let me see.
Absolutely brilliant.
My husband has all his teeth. Congratulations. Wait. Oh no, removed. Wait, she said removed. Wait, I didn't read the whole sentence. Wait. His teeth removed, the worst way, horrible experience. Okay, so happy day. And this is, listen, when we know better, we do better. This is why it is the women of this new paradigm. That's why we're coming together. That's why we're talking to each other. We have mothers on here. We have grandmothers, abuelas on here. We have some of the wonderful matriarchy on this. This is why we come together collectively. This is what they didn't want. That's why you have shows like Love and Hip Hop. Or
and Love and Hip Hop. They always try to make it a battle between us
women. Absolutely. Always. They want us to not like each other.
Into the consciousness with reality TV and all kinds of nonsense.
Yes.
But the power is coming to us. And I love the black man. I love him. Like,
he's beautiful.
Nothing more beautiful on the planet. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But sisters, the information is coming directly to you.
Yes.
Directly, without interruption.
Yes.
Don't be distracted. Take that information. You can write it down if you're a writer.
Yes.
Or you can hook up with a sister that's on your time and y'all can build together. And you'll find that she's giving you confirmation and you're giving her confirmation. And with that, now y'all open the portal and everything that y'all said in that y'all want creates itself.
It's true.
The power is coming through your womb.
You're the only one who carries a Stargate between your legs. You know?
It.
So you are a portal. You are a walking portal.
Right.
So it's necessary. I love this. Everyone's happy.
Very necessary.
So of course we talk about energy, alchemizing energy, also utilizing the fact that this is the time that you are thoughts or things. And, you know, Dana had to come on here because she had the verbal skill set to put it into a way that I felt was very well received and necessary. We're past, we've already gone past the point of any return. You have to be more balanced. If you're going to stay on Mother Tiamat in a healthy way and without any sort of, interruptions or interceptions, you're going to have to be balanced. And this is, it's necessary. And take everything that's deemed negative by them. And like she said, take it and transmute that sucker into what you desire. So 5G, like I said, 5G's coming. Everybody has something negative. We know that the ancients used the same technology. Why don't you take that 5G, flip mode it? Yeah.
Let me say something.
Take it.
I sell organite pyramids, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I've been selling pyramids since the winter time.
Yes.
I try to explain to people what organite does, right? Organite gets you some. Because it takes all of that extremely low frequency and it transmutes it into positive energy.
That can be utilized.
From your television, your cell phone, all your electronics, all of these elf towers and wind towers, and even the stuff that they just created to spray to try to cover the sun. All of this stuff, it takes it transmutes it, and it turns into positive energy.
Absolutely.
Right? I want to say 10 people bought a pyramid. Right? And so I'm trying to explain to people that your body is 70 to 80% water. Okay? If your body is 70 to 80% water, that means that with these frequencies coming in, whether you know it or not, it's changing your molecular structure.
Absolutely.
Period. And so let's do things to stop it from changing our molecular structure. We're at a point, a precipice right now. Like we're on the tip right now where stuff is looking like it might become real funky. Right? And it's covert.
It is.
It's warfare that is silent. It's
absolutely
extremely silent, unless you are a hearer and you can hear the frequency. Unless you are a person who is an intuitive or an empath and you're paying attention to the birds and their patterns. You're paying attention to the ants and their patterns. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Abraham Acosta.
We have to shift this. And it's up to us to shift it. Right? And so it's like you said, tapping into that technology that our ancestors used, tapping into that 0 point energy.
Mm-hmm.
We
Absolutely.
have the means to do it. We have the knowledge to do it. Let's do it.
That's right.
Let's do it.
And Abraham said Epstein equals Intel acid. That's interesting. Thank you. Acosta asked today by report if Epstein equaled Intel acid. That's interesting. I don't know, Abraham, but thank you for that. We got to look that up. And yes, we are in the midst of retrogrades, but retrogrades are like rewinds, like like a remix, like a chicka. So you take that remix. Yeah, you just take the remix. I love remixes. How about you, Dana? I love when they add a little. Sometimes they used to add Sean Combs on, the remix. Yeah. So what you can do, and this is where we'll take in the alchemy of it. When we're in a remix time, we change the verbiage and we take it and we see it the way we want to. So I take the retrogrades as a remix. So I know there's a remix like, oh, snap. I could go back and do a little bit of a snafu, another remix. So I'm going to add a little cherry on top of my pie. I'm going to add those things that were going on in my life that I wanted to change a little bit, but I didn't at the time have the knowledge or the information. So now I'm in a remix. So now I can take what I learned and add a little something to it and take it on and take a whole nother advantage of that same thing that maybe I wasn't ready or even prepared for at that particular time and space. So this is a remix time. Okay. So do your remixes, add a little bit of whatever's necessary or see things in a way that you didn't have the vantage point at that particular time.
Exactly.
See it for what it is.
Exactly. And it helps in healing. Going back to healing. It helps.
Absolutely.
It really does. All those regrets that you have, you face with, people that you haven't dealt with in so long, coming back to you.
Absolutely.
Then you have opportunity
to say no like you didn't before.
Exactly. And then that opens doors.
That's right.
Because the door that was closed when you said yes before now can be open.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
It works itself out.
It does.
It really does.
So don't allow some of these beings out here to give you the story, his story.
You be the alchemist.
Yes. It's all you. So if we take on that this holographic universe is only you, like Nature Nut used to say, he wasn't wrong, but he took it from everybody else. It is all you. So if you take that, when that time when you had this maybe this opportunity that you didn't take the remix and say, you know what if I took that opportunity, because it's an alternate timeline that you can accept in that remix.
Exactly.
And that's what Dana's saying.
Timeline.
Yeah,
definitely an alternate timeline, especially with that portal that just opened.
Woo!
What was it, last week?
Yep.
With the
solar eclipse.
The eclipse. The solar eclipse.
Yeah. So you have doorways that are open right now.
The new moon.
It's
the new moon.
Which means that everything you desire.
Portal.
Yes.
That's light and dark.
That's right. And you pull what you are.
God.
Yeah.
Right.
You pull what you are. So you could pull that spades. I don't know if anybody plays spades. If you're waiting for that spades to win that hand, you could pull it through that portal. You're like, oh, snap. I get a chance to take something that will take me over the top. And a lot of revelations will be made at this time. And because you have revelations coming through the portals, then you could take the remix and say, oh, now I could add that extra track to that song now that I didn't have before.
Perfect timing.
This is perfect. So
divine timing.
Yeah. So we all Black Moon on July 31st. That's what I'm talking about. It's an inverted 13. So we're gonna take the shadow aspect of ourselves. See the things that Fleur Broom normally wouldn't do in her, her service to other state. I'm gonna take service to self, because that's what the 31 is. That's why the 31st is what they do all the other occult rituals. I'm gonna take the 31st. And I'm going to take the shadow aspect of self, the things that normally would be considered, if I was unhealthy, to be negative. I'm going to take that aspect and utilize it to manifest something in a more physical way. That's maybe more based, but I require, and I'll use it positively. So utilize that 31st as an inverted 13. See, our sea stars, we can use it too. Men do it all the time in the occult. You use it.
Exactly. Please use it.
Yes. Let's see what they're saying.
Just let these portals open and close, and you're not using your energy, baby.
Yes. And also, our sea stars, make sure if you're mating with anyone at this time. I know people are tired of me talking about mating. If you are mating at this time, yes, your orgone energy matters. Yes.
Listen, and I tell everybody, please, even if you're pleasing yourself,
yes,
you have to say, I take my organ. You have to say it. You don't have to say it out loud, but you have to consciously make it a thing, because what happens is entities sitting waiting for you to do it.
Absolutely.
And they feed off of it.
They do. So you letting the parasite feed.
And so please, when you do your orgone energy, take that, whether it be for whatever manifestation or power or whatever.
Absolutely.
Intention and take it back.
Yes. And you can also, by, a lot of times we're used to giving it away without knowledge or knowing, but also realize when you're engaged with a male, you can also vet in his frequency as well. You can make a nice little agreement. So he has energy that's being dispersed out into the ether and other beings are feeding. If he's not going to utilize it, you can also utilize that energy to help manifest. That's what orgies are about. That's why a lot of males use orgies to feed off of females' portal energy. So you can do the same. Okay, I'm not saying hurt them, but you can utilize it with, with his permission. I always say ask for permission, and most of them will say yes. I haven't heard of any males. Yeah, they'll be like, okay, sir, can I use your energy to help to buy me a yacht? Sure, Fleur Broom. Sure. Use my organ. Yeah. So, oh, wait, they said that's how Epstein got rich. You never know. It's utilizing the energy, especially when people are doing it diabolically with children, because children are pure.
Exactly.
So that's why they utilize children for occult rituals in a lot of ways sexually, because of that. And if you take that and know that, and we can have empathy all day, but we can transmute that and utilize it for our own purpose, and also to help heal the planet. Okay.
Exactly. And
so
it works.
Yeah. And it's
I'm a witness.
And also I encourage mothers and fathers and grandmothers as well as to talk to the children, because I think, maybe because both me and Dana are Creole, we have that Creole background. So I find that I had more knowledge of healthy sexuality from a child, more so than most, maybe. So I think it's important for you to speak to your children in a very appropriate way, because I think if you don't teach them, they will be susceptible to being harmed by energy vampires and using their sexual energy, because children do have that. So if you tell them, no one touches you so-so, but give them a reason why, because they can take your energy and they can take that away from you. Explain it to them in a very appropriate way. That's why then you'll disallow, your child will build their own energetic field on their own, knowing, because now they know that some beings will utilize their sexual energy, what's inside them, for manifestation of evil things. If you tell them that, they will block themselves. Yeah. So do that. Don't be afraid to talk to your children, because they're learning it anyway on social media. They're getting it from other children. They are.
In kindergarten.
Absolutely. And do it
without permission.
Absolutely. They talk. There's people talking. There's parents, other teachers who facilitate your children in ways that you would not even be appropriate. You wouldn't feel as appropriate. So you give them shields and you build them up with the information that you know is healthy for them, so they aren't susceptible for lies or infiltration.
And nobody can tell them anything outside of what you told them.
Absolutely. Mommy and daddy already told me.
You told them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They told me, you're not supposed to touch me, little boy, because sometimes it happens with other children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it makes them unafraid to come and have those conversations.
Absolutely.
With mommy and daddy.
That's right.
Whether the teacher said it or a little boy or a little girl on the playground said it, they'll come and say, well, Mom, remember when you said this to me? Well, such and such said this.
That's
right. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It opens up that line of communication, which is extremely important right now.
It is. Always keep it open, mommies, and try not to demonize things that are nature, part of nature. Going back
to DC.
Yeah.
There was a writer in a newspaper who just wrote, I think it was last week, that pedophilia is now a mental illness. And so they're working that in to their agenda. In Europe, for the past 15 years, they've been trying to make pedophilia legal and make the legal age for consent 3 years old.
Yes, yeah, and bestiality, that's sick. That's just plain sick.
Right.
And
so it's extremely important.
Yes,
and it's for their ritual games.
It is. And also, we got to take in consideration, a lot of times when they do these campaigns, especially in Europe, I notice they put a woman on the forefront as a proponent of the law, or because they know if they put a woman's face on it, it'll make it seem more easy. Yeah. No, there isn't any consent for a 3-year-old for sex in any way. Any man. Yeah, any man who has a natural sexual attraction to children should be euthanized. This is my personal opinion. He should be euthanized.
His brain.
Yeah.
And his other brain.
Yeah, because that's a sickness. That's a sickness beyond humanity. It's just sick. And that isn't something that can be remedied with electromagnetic, what is it? Electrodes or anything. Yeah. That'll probably be the only remedy. And let's keep it real. Not every man molested children, but the majority of children are being violated by men and women who are complicit with men who violate children.
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. So castration doesn't stop abuse, though. I wish it was that simple. No, because it's in their mind. So it's a power thing. So even if you castrate them, I've known men who in the system can't even have a working penis anymore, and they're still violating children. So castration doesn't help. It's unfortunate.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have this virtual reality thing that they're doing now with pedophiles, where they are hooking their brains and their organs up to machines and making them watch virtual reality of little children, trying to make it legal.
Wow.
And make it a mental illness rather than a deviant.
No, they need to be destroyed, because that's called that's what I consider to be what is it called, terrorism. Men, people who molest children, who harm children, who harm animals, that's a form of terrorism. And just like, the Americas will go and bomb other countries for calling them terrorists and don't care who they're bombing, but you won't take out a bastard who rapes 20, 30 children or has raped over 100 children. So this is where this is where there is an agenda placed on this type of behavior. And there are dark beings here who are not human, who are basically the catalyst for this type of behavior.
But what I've learned, because I studied for a long time, looking into the deviancy of these beings, right? And a lot of them, especially when you look at the Catholic Church and their higher ups, whether it be the Pope or the Black Pope, I remember Eligio Bishop saying something one time about being molested and it being a quote unquote spiritual experience.
Yeah.
At that time, I think Ashe Divine was going to do a debate with him or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I was trying to reach out to her to explain to her, and this is when I knew he was the agent, that when these organizations take these little children and use them in rituals sexually, they're forcing their kundalini.
That's right.
It's not without intention. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so for that being to have said that means that he had to have experienced it.
He did. And that's why he said it was a spiritual experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's why anal tantric behavior, that's why there is, excuse my language, ass culture, which is basically, even in Brazil, which is overt, whereas being more feminine, usually men tend to look at the front of the body, the face, the breasts, the frontal part of a female. That flip mode is more bringing influence to anal tantric behavior. And when you access the anal cavity, especially preempt when they're young boys, you are preempting that kundalini rise, and it compartmentalizes the brain. It allows for more mind control.
Turning them into, it's turning them into that little girl 11 on Stranger Things.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. And you allow for other entities to utilize the splintering of the brain in order to access that human form, that avatar, to do whatever dastardly agendas.
And that's what these alphabet organizations are doing.
Absolutely.
To children.
Absolutely. And that's part of the whole uniform of using children for sexual behavior. And I think a lot of people don't talk about it. And it's really frightening because there's a lot of people who feel like talking about it will bring more. But awareness is, if you know what it is and what it's meant to do, you stop it. You can't change. You can only change what you acknowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You acknowledge it, then in a couple of days, you'll see an article about it.
Yes.
And that's bringing light to the situation.
Absolutely.
Now more people see it.
Absolutely.
And that's when things change.
Yeah. Because someone was bringing up, there was a debate, I don't know, when I was abroad about, it was actually in a conversation about Brazilians and their obsession with wearing thongs, which is beautiful. People have beautiful forms. But I said that is because already Brazil is very inverted in the way that it reacts to people of color and how it's unhealthy and the suppression of the populace. That whole reversal and only emphasizing the buttocks as a sexual, because putting something up your behind, a thong, putting a string up your behind is not healthy. I don't. No, not at all. Okay, so I don't know why people would even have an argument about that. That's also showing people to have access to the anal cavity. Putting a string between your behind, which is always keeping you aware of your anal cavity. So that's also causing a certain kind of mindset. So it isn't normal for, if you're having male to female companionship, for males to only look at it. It's very odd. It's unnatural. Men used to look at the woman's frontal in one point of our reality, and that flipped with an agenda to cause, because when you start looking at a buttocks, it doesn't matter what kind of buttocks. It doesn't matter if it's female or male.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a butt.
Yeah. So a butt is a butt is a butt. So you won't care to have sex with someone anally if sexualized, the butt is always there. So you don't care if it's a woman or a man, because that's been now the sexualized point of view. It's unhealthy. I'm not talking about judgment on people's sexuality. We're not talking about that. Yeah. It is an unhealthy aspect of perpetuating something to gain access to people's kundalini, to hijack their consciousness. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So,
and that's equivalent to selling your soul.
It is. It is. So, I always tell our young millennials, because our young women are more susceptible and our young males, that is something that you should refrain from. I'm not saying that you can't enjoy sexuality in whatever way it shows up, but engaging with anal sex has some long-term effects on your spirit. Yes. Yeah. It's a lot more spiritual than you deem. And the person who's actually entering into accessing your anal point has some control over you mind-wise. And
don't let it be a low vibrational being.
Yes, because he'll put a sexually transmitted demon inside of you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that entry point for the demon will be into your anal cavity, into your kundalini. So then you might have issues.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much. Because now it's attached to your spiritual, your soul body, your kaba, your makaba.
Absolutely.
And it travels with you everywhere.
It does. And a lot of people don't realize, because it's being so emphasized and so normalized, then, even the conversation becomes piloted and people get sensitive. It's not a sexuality conversation. It's a natural engagement in physicality. It's a physical and spiritual perversion. It isn't normal.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's just it, and we have to take out the sensitivity and the triggering, because once you get triggered, then the whole conversation gets lost in the sauce.
It gets weird.
Yeah.
It gets real weird.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't. It's a conversation. Yeah. Anything is an exit point should not be made an entry point. If it is, and then there's going to be an issue. There's a consequence to that, physically and mentally and spiritually.
Right. Yeah. Like Dick Gregory said, the only thing that comes out of the butt is poop. That's why it should be matter of fact. The conversation shouldn't even be sensitized, because if you know that that's the case, I think everybody knows that excrement comes out of the butt. Excrement. So it's already telling you to exit. Yeah. So if you know that's the case, you know that it isn't healthy to put anything where poop is ever. Toxicity.
Okay. You don't put something that is meant to create children or people or to replicate itself inside of an exit point, which is is supposed to expel something.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Now I'm going to say about the booty action.
Yes.
If that's what you're into, just be mindful.
That's it.
Be very mindful and be very particular
about who you engage with.
About who you let do it, because it's an attachment that is far past this lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It really is. But yes, honey, be the alchemist.
Absolutely. So we gotta.
Be the alchemist.
So let me see if we can answer some questions, and we'll kind of close it out. Let's see. Anyone have any questions for Dana while she's on, or myself? See if you have any questions. We'll read it out. Anybody else? Let's see. You can do whatever you want, but don't make it right. I agree. I want to still. Okay. So Kay wants to know. Kay's pregnant. Congratulations to Kay again, one of our sisters. Kay wants to know how to protect the babies in the womb, and you wanna add to that, and I'll go in after.
Create a frequency, and so I know a lot of people say this, but like get some earphones and let your baby listen to classical music.
Yes.
Let them listen to jazz. Mm-hmm. Create that frequency in their mind that helping them to evolve in the womb.
Absolutely.
Water helps. Sitting around water. It's just because you're still attached. It's basically you, but it is shifting that frequency. Yes. You got to create an environment where it's a peaceful environment, and that's how you protect your baby.
Absolutely. And stay away from, I think when I was pregnant, I don't know if you were like this too, Dana, when I was pregnant, I couldn't watch scary movies, anything that was frightening. Just, frequency is everything, exactly what Dana said, and keeping yourself as clean and clear as if the baby was outside of you. So I always treat the baby inside of me like they're outside of me. what I wouldn't do in
Right.
front of the baby, I wouldn't do when the baby's in my womb.
Right.
So if you're having a piloted discussion with hubby, I wouldn't even have that conversation. Say, listen, I feel a certain way. I love you. Let's have this conversation maybe at another time when, it's a little more private, or I'm not feeling a certain way physically, because arguments
Right.
can cause your pH to change, which
Sure.
also affects the baby's
Yeah.
stress.
Right.
Also, water is frequency, putting love on your water, disallowing people that are unhealthy. Any person you wouldn't allow around
Right.
your baby, don't allow them
Don't
around
go
you when you're
around
pregnant. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's about it. I mean, frequency is everything. The mother is an extension of the baby. So everything you
Right.
do will affect your baby. Just be good with you, and the baby will
And
be.
control your thoughts.
Yes.
Control your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Because don't, like I said, create empathy. And so I know, being pregnant is a very emotional time.
Mhm.
But your thoughts can shift your baby's consciousness.
Yes.
And so you want to be conscious of that.
Mhm. Absolutely.
What you think.
Absolutely. Christine said a good thing. Negative thoughts are acidic. Very, very.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's about it. I mean, as far as, Kay, you're on point. You're always on here. I mean, you're doing everything you righteous. Just feel that way. Feel like everything you do is in alignment with a healthy baby. So if you keep that, it's like alkalizing is alchemizing. So keep
Right.
that thought pattern with you at all times. The baby, I'll have a wonderful, healthy birth. She or he is going to come out amazing. You have those
Right.
thoughts. It's like what they tell in drug addicts and AAA, fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? Sometimes
Right.
it's just a matter, like, even if you're crying, saying, oh, these tears are clearing away all the dirt and the darkness. You know what I mean? Take that. Take that.
Right.
I've had to do that sometimes when I'm crying. It's like, oh, I love it. I'm purging. I'm clearing.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Exactly.
It's all in your mind state. And that's how they're able to psyop us a lot of times, is through our own minds, because we give them that
Right.
access point and we believe the things that they project. So that reality, it's a script.
The spirit is telling me to tell her to tap into the element. And so what I've learned is that ancestral spirits embody the element, whether it's fire, water, air, or earth, to be more in align with that. And so whether or not you go out every day and touch a tree, whether you are grounding, or you, like I said, go sit near some water, light yourself a candle,
Yes.
Some incense, if you can bear the smell of incense,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and to engulf yourself with that, because the ancestral spirits will protect the baby.
Yes. They're very protective, actually.
They're overly protective.
Yes. Yes. They preempt attacks too. A lot of times.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
The person better not even think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. So you'll be fine, Kay. It's all good in the hood.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay. So, wait, good question, Karen. How can we protect our children's energy? Same thing, like we just said. I think, yeah.
If with your baby, I say cover their heads at nighttime.
Oh, yes. The caps.
Because a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, all the time, at nighttime is when the spirits roam.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
So,
that's right.
A lot of attacks or fear that a child may be feeling, anxiety, it comes at nighttime before they start going to bed.
Very good.
And so when you cover their heads, you stop them from being attached to or attacked.
Absolutely.
And so I recommend that, especially with the children I work with, to cover their heads.
Very
because
good.
It'll help with their dreams. And
that's
again, I always say put the pink Himalayan salt in the corners of their room.
That's right.
Make sure their closet doors are
closed. Yes. Cover with a black cap. That's why the Jewish, everyone talks about the yarmulkes. There's a reason why the yarmulkes are dark colored and covering the crown.
Right.
So, I think black caps, even when I was going to get a black crib, how much shade I got from wanting a black crib? They thought I was having Rosemary's Baby. I remember at the shower, they were like, why would you want a black crib? I didn't get it because of so much scent. I mean, they thought I was going to have
horrible.
Yeah, I wanted a black crib, and they sell them and they're beautiful. I loved it. they gave me a problem with that, but I never get it. I never received it. But the black crib, I always suggest because I think white is neutral and it's beautiful. But when a baby is that vulnerable, I always say to have a lot of black around.
Protection.
Yeah, for protection.
Black is protected.
Yeah. So I always say that, but I didn't know that. Yeah, they're beautiful. I picked out the most beautiful black crib. And even my ex at the time, he was okay with it, but everybody else looked at me like I was the devil. That's crazy. Yeah, and
everything black they think is evil.
Absolutely,
the entire life.
No, the baby was safer in that way. You neutralize the energy. There's a reason why in some rituals you wear white, in some rituals you wear black. So exactly. I just thought it was beautiful to have a beautiful black crib. So the baby ended up sleeping. They slept with me anyway. I co-slept with my babies even to this day. So it didn't even matter. I wasn't leaving those babies in a crib anyway, only when I was washing clothes in the daytime. That was it. But at night, they co-slept with me and daddy. So it ended up not even being functional anyway, because the crib was like a waste of time and money.
That's not our thing.
It isn't. No, even the girls sleep in bed. Even to this day, they'll climb in. You know what I mean? So I'm okay with that as a parent. I think it's unnatural to put your children all the way at the bottom of a hallway. You ever see that?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, putting your child with the. Then you wonder why you're hearing ghosts. Oh no! I need to hear breathing. I need to hear.
I need to see.
Yes. So this is a lot of mothers on here. We have a lot of abuelas on here. Wonderful, wonderful matrons on this in this group. So you always, Kay, if any of you have any questions, you have a lot of the nieces here. A lot of these are pros. These are grandmothers who've raised a few children. So don't ever be afraid in our group to always engage with the other mothers, because what even we don't talk about, they know. And they'll answer a lot quicker too. So you'll be fine.
And that's what we need to get back to that.
We do.
We need to get back to the older women teaching the younger women. It's imperative.
Absolutely.
I mean, to keep us going and to progress, we have to get back to that.
We have to. And I've always talked about during my pregnancy, during my last pregnancy with my second daughter, I joined Mocha Moms, and I talk about this all the time. It was an amazing group, and they gave me respite, meaning they cooked 3 times a day and brought food to me and allowed me to sleep with the baby. So I had a tribal base, and they were absolutely magnificent with me. I've had the most amazing support system when I engaged with Mocha Moms. So big up to the Mocha Moms, who were phenomenal. And that was in Pennsylvania. That was actually in Pennsylvania. The sect.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it was very helpful. I had a toddler and a newborn, and they gave me a lot of time, and my husband was working a lot. So it was beautiful, and I really appreciated it, and I required it. I did. My mom came, his mom came. I had a village. Yeah, I had a village help me with my daughters. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to join. I always say not all moms groups are that way, but I say if you can, I really liked it. It was very tribal based for me. I really appreciated it. If you can find a mother's group where the women are healthy, conscious, even if they're unconscious, but they're just good people. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's always good when you're pregnant or you're in that interim of having or getting pregnant or after the baby comes to have a wonderful league of moms. Because sometimes it's a matter sometimes there were things I didn't know that other mothers, just like my mom knew, but I couldn't call my mom, but my girlfriend from Mocha Moms was there. She knew because the other moms were talking about it in the week before in groups. So, we're getting back to sisterhood, my lovelies. And, the sisterhood is back online. Please take full advantage of the fact that we're coming back into that cycle. And it's necessary for you to contact and be in a healthy liaison with your sisters. So just, and remember,
and leave the distractions behind.
Yes, it's unnecessary. And please, Sea Stars, you don't have to share everything with males. And that's why they've taken advantage of us. I think a lot of times we share too much that isn't in alignment with male energy. I'm not saying you should keep secrets, but I think a lot of times instead of having that pillows talk with your husband or your boyfriend, you need to start having more confidence in healthy women that are more in alignment with you. Okay.
Right.
So the sisterhood will do that. You have a sister and you're having problems, or you're feeling maybe you're not in sync with your husband, or you're feeling sad. Another sister has already probably gone through that, or her mother, her cousin. you can talk to her without judgment. Men will take that information sometimes, and if he's unhealthy, which a lot of males can be, they'll use it against you. Like, you sick, I've heard men use something a woman's using are vulnerable. You sick bee, you can't even take care of your baby. I've heard men say that to women in front of me. I was like, how are you gonna talk to her like that? Well, she just told you she's feeling, out of sync. Because, yes. And they will use it. And it's not all men. Let me just say that. But there's
it's not all of them.
So
it's the abusive one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, we have great women. Contact them even for a little question, and you shouldn't have to pay for anyone to give you just personal advice. That's another thing too. If you were asking a sister for advice, she shouldn't be asking you for $20. Okay, so let's just say that too. We're not talking about consultations. I'm talking about just hey,
out of love.
Yeah, just that. So that should be a healthy liaison as well. Beautiful. So what do you have to say? So we're gonna kind of build this to I don't want to say end, to a how should we say? We're just gonna bring this to a beautiful halt. And I want Dana, can you give you want to end it with anything, say anything, bring anything about again?
I'm gonna end it with a benediction.
Okay. Yes.
All right. I think everything was said that was need to be said. I just, like I told you earlier today, I seem to have a gift to where I'm going through things or seeing things like 6 months before it happens.
Yes.
And so I felt it was imperative, very important, to be able to tell everybody to alleviate the distraction. And I know sometimes it's hard, but be the alchemist and create the reality that you want to see.
Absolutely.
Because this is the opportune time to do it.
Absolutely.
And that's it.
I accept that. Absolutely. Take responsibility for your own energetic field.
Yes, take accountability and tap into you.
Absolutely. And, I want to thank everybody today. I actually think, what's interesting about this, Dana? As much as I was trying to put the name of the show on here, I almost felt like the name of the show was 11/11. So
let's go.
Yeah, I think because I was quickly trying to get in at the 11/11, so I just put it there. But what I realized is that might be a regular thing, because a lot of times they will interrupt my feed based on the topic, and I've realized that.
I told you today's numbers was 11.
You said yes, Dana. Dana already broke it down. Say it again.
7/10/2019. So 7 and 1 is 8. Plus 3, which is 2019, is 11.
11.
And it goes back to 2.
It's beautiful. So we're already in the frequency.
Time, baby.
Yeah. So I made sure I threw it in there real quick because I had to stop it. Started 11/11. So now what I realized, rather than me giving show titles, I'll put the show titles afterwards, but I'll put 11/11 so it's a topic that I'm not preempting anything. So you just kind of get a goodie, a surprise when you come to the
perfect.
Yeah. So that way we don't give them any sort of time to start defragging my lives. Flora was talking about reptilians. Let's defrag her.
Exactly.
It's beautiful. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you, Dana, so beautifully for once again. Join Dana. Dana's on YouTube. Check out her site. She goes into a lot of different things, just like what you hear. You can contact her via Dana Vudun Khayal.
Activated 444. I'm also on Instagram, personal Dana_AMAD. AMAD is Dana backwards.
Say it again, Dana. You were a little muffled. Can you repeat that again?
Oh, great. Can you hear me?
Now we can. Yes.
Hold on for a second. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
This always happens.
Are they trying to?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back. Yeah,
okay.
They tried it.
They tried it. You gonna lose because we can alchemize. We already transmuted it. It was like, like a Rubik's Cube. We're transmuting it. Okay.
Yeah. But did you hear me?
Say it again.
Okay, so YouTube is Dana Vudun Khayal. Instagram is DN Activated 444 on Instagram. And my personal Instagram is Dana_AMAD, which is just Dana backwards.
Okay. Ooh, she did the flip mode. Right. Flip mode as opposed to below. So anyone check her out, please go. Of course, always support a healthy sisterhood. You know, this is us being the change we want to see in the world. We will fill it in together, and we will hold each other's hand through this beautiful transition into unity consciousness. We're not just going to talk about it, we're going to be about it. All right. Exactly. So thank you everyone for joining us. Have a amazing night.
And love y'all.
Peace. And we'll stay on. Hold on. There we go. That was beautiful, Dana.